The next step is the gearbox. Welcome back YouTube to episode number 3 on our JDM right-hand drive Evo 9 MR. For those of us who are familiar with Mitsubishi racing and performance, guys who have the 6-speed gearbox often swap over to the 5-speed because it's the stronger of the two gearboxes. What happened is, in order to make a 5-speed gearbox a 6-speed, Mitsubishi made gears 4, 5 and 6 smaller so they could squeeze the 6th gear into basically the same housing. As a result, that is the weakness in the 6-speed. 4th gear, 5th and 6 is more of an overdrive. Not wanting to change from the 6-speed gearbox because of the gear ratios and how smooth and refined a transmission it is, I searched the internet for 6-speed upgrades and options, and I found that about 10 years ago, a company out of Australia called Albins made a set of gears for the 6-speed transmission. They actually make for Porsches and GTRs as well, and they made a one-time batch of gears 10 years ago. And that gear set includes 3, 4 and 5, and they use a stronger metal. They put larger teeth in the gear and they put fewer teeth as well. So I sent out a whole heap of emails. I reached out to Jack's Transmissions and a few other companies, and finally a guy by the name of Chris Fisher from Bangkok. He actually has a business in the US, Vista Grande Motorsports, where he specializes in Porsches, and he was an authorized dealer for those gears. He responded a few days later and indicated that he had about 5 or 6 sets of those gears sitting on a shelf on a warehouse for like the last 10 years, and he had just cleaned out the warehouse and had shipped those gears back to Bangkok from California. So it took me a few days for them to arrive in Bangkok, for the gears to have been cleared, for him to have verified what the actual inventory was, because you can only imagine the condition of the packaging after 10 years on the shelf. And then he reached out to me and told me he had the gears and he was shipping them back to the US for me. Now I would be confident that the 6-speed gearbox will have the internals strong enough to handle the additional torque that this engine would be putting out, especially in Dominica's mountainous terrain where you're trying to haul 3,000 plus pounds up and down the mountains. That is for the ARP. Perfect. Okay. And as per ARP, we're talking this to 95 foot-pounds. Just checking over all, make sure we get 50 foot-pounds. Then we go into the flywheel sitting properly. Then we will do our final torque at 95. Perfect. Back it out to reset it, and all the way up to 95. 150. That should be 100, right? There. So if that's 100. 95 should be around here then. I'll leave it around here. Okay, perfect. Then we lock it down now in a crisscross pattern. it. Okay, that was good enough. I actually used the impact gun on it before, but just for peace of mind. So now we loosen our torque wrench to remove the stress from it. Perfect. Is two things we have to do. Watching. One, they want you to crisscross the two discs. So separation and hold there. And the second thing, we have to align our marks. It's a 23 foot-pounds, right? 10, 21, 22, and 23. Perfect? Good? Come down? Yeah. Let's bring it all a little bit down so we still have some height. So clear all there and then we just send that out. Hold it like that. I think we're perfect. You're going to just send it back now. Come with me. That's easier. So transfer this clear in. Inside? I've been playing in cars since the mid-90s, back in my time in Florida. That's what I'm talking about. That's it? Yes, sir. And I have no recollection of us ever going inside of an automatic or manual transmission. We would build engines, but never ever transmissions. So the next move now is... No. The next step now would be to install the gearbox. So the question was, how would I install the gears and who would do it for me? So I wanted somebody who was meticulous, who was patient, and who was experienced, and I reached out to Dave Corrier from Lindo Park Services to install the gears and assemble the transmission for me. Dave and I go back a long way, and I told him I wanted us to do a sort of father and son project so I could get the opportunity not only to get the gears installed, but to see the process, to learn and understand how a transmission functions. He said no problem, he agreed, and told me it was a Saturday project. So he got one of his guys, Rico, who is such a small world. His sister used to work for me at the airport in a restaurant branch shop over there. And he was very nice, very helpful. And we came on the Saturday, I was there. Dave took the time to explain the gears, the input shaft, the different terminologies to me. And then what I thought was going to be a one Saturday project, it turned out I had a few bearings to order that they recommended I change as well. It took me 4 months to get those bearings. It may look like chaos still. Honestly, it does to me. But according to the mechanics, they're making progress. So my fingers are crossed. With COVID and the fact that that transmission was first manufactured in 2003 and was never popular in the US, there was no dealership in the US that had the bearings in stock. They had to be manufactured from Japan. Long story short, the video doesn't show it, but it took us just over 4 months. So there was one Saturday to disassemble, identify what additional parts we needed, and another Saturday to reassemble, and then I could get the transmission to install. So enjoy some of the photographs and the short footage of the whole transmission experience. Transmission is back home. For the second time, by the way. Assembled, cleaned, and everything is turning as is. I'm very comfortable and satisfied with the finished product. Transmission is in, transfer case is connected, rear engine mount is also connected, mount is on, and mount is tightened. What I'm doing next is I'm going to put on my 2 axles on either side, then my alternator in the back down there, and put on my accessory belt. I had to change my battery. It was dead. That's my battery set up behind there. And I brace it down to the strut tower bar and the kickers going behind it. So I getting ready, my boy. I've been up since 7 a.m. this morning, doctor. And then I can also put on my intake manifold and close up the back end. Beautiful feeling. 11 months later, and she's finally on all fours.